What if you built a perfect world? Unlimited food, no predators, ideal temperature, infinite space to grow, and watched everyone inside choose extinction instead? This actually happened, and the results terrified scientists for decades. In 1968, an American scientist named John B. Calhoun began an experiment that would become one of the most disturbing studies in behavioral science history. He called it Universe 25. It was a specially designed habitat for mice, a metal pen 9 feet square, perfectly climate-controlled, with abundant nesting boxes and tunnels. Food and water were replenished constantly. There were no diseases, no predators, no weather. The space could comfortably hold 3,000 mice. Calhoun started with just 4 breeding pairs. His question was simple but profound. What happens when a society has everything it needs? The answer would shake our understanding of civilization itself. At first, everything went exactly as expected. The mouse population doubled every 55 days. Families formed, territories were established, social hierarchies emerged naturally. By day 315, the population had reached 620 mice. The growth rate began to slow, even though there was still plenty of room and resources. Calhoun noticed something strange. Young males were struggling to find roles in the established social structure. Dominant males controlled the best territories and most females. The rejected males became aggressive. They formed gangs, attacking others randomly. Violence erupted in areas that had been peaceful. Females began abandoning their nests. On day 560, the population reached 2,200, its absolute peak. Then something unprecedented happened. Births dropped sharply. Infant mortality skyrocketed. Mother mice stopped building nests. They abandoned their young before weaning. Some became aggressive toward their own offspring. The most basic maternal instincts simply vanished. Then Calhoun observed the strangest group of all. He called them the beautiful ones, mice that withdrew from society entirely, refusing to fight, mate, or engage in any social behavior. These mice had perfect, unmarked fur because they never fought. They ate, drank, slept, and groomed. Nothing else. They showed no interest in reproduction or social interaction whatsoever. Calhoun coined a term for what he was witnessing: behavioral sink. It described the complete collapse of normal social behaviors under conditions of overcrowding, even when resources remained abundant. By day 600, the population was declining rapidly. But here's the terrifying part. Even when Calhoun removed mice to reduce crowding, the behavioral collapse continued. The last conception occurred on day 920. After that, no new mice were born. The population aged, withered, and died. Universe 25 reached total extinction. Universe 25 wasn't Calhoun's first attempt. It was his 25th. Every single previous mouse utopia had ended the same way. Paradise, overcrowding, behavioral collapse, extinction. He'd run similar experiments with rats in the early 1960s. Despite different species and modified conditions, the pattern remained identical. Something fundamental was happening. So what caused the collapse? Calhoun believed it wasn't overcrowding itself, but the breakdown of social roles. When populations grow too large, meaningful social bonds become impossible. Young mice couldn't find their place. There were no territories to claim, no challenges to overcome, no purpose to fulfill. In paradise, there was nothing meaningful to do. The constant presence of others created chronic stress. In nature, animals can disperse when populations grow. In the enclosure, there was nowhere to go, no way to escape social pressure. Calhoun theorized that identity itself broke down. When individuals can't establish distinct roles or territories, they lose their sense of self within the social structure. The experiment raised an uncomfortable question. Could this happen to humans? We're social creatures too, living in increasingly crowded cities with fewer clear social roles. When Calhoun published his findings in 1972, global human population was exploding. His work seemed like a dire warning about our own future. The mouse utopia experiments influenced dystopian fiction, urban planning debates, and discussions about overpopulation. They became a cultural touchstone for fears about modern society. However, before we panic, we need to examine the criticism. Many scientists argue that mice aren't humans, and the experiment had serious limitations. Critics point out that the mice had no choice to leave. Humans have options. We can move cities, change careers, reshape our environments. We're not trapped. Human brains are vastly more complex than mouse brains. We create abstract meaning, build virtual communities, and adapt cultures. We're not slaves to pure instinct. Throughout history, humans have lived in extremely dense populations. Think ancient Rome, medieval cities, modern Tokyo, without total social collapse. We adapt. We also have technology that mice don't. Communication networks, transportation, virtual spaces, these expand our effective living area far beyond physical walls. So what should we actually learn from Universe 25? Perhaps not that collapse is inevitable, but that social structure and purpose matter deeply. The beautiful ones withdrew because they had everything except meaning. This suggests that comfort alone isn't enough. Humans need challenges, roles, and purpose. The collapse happened when social bonds became impossible to maintain. This highlights how crucial genuine connection is, not just physical proximity to others. The experiment influenced urban planning. Cities need green spaces, community areas, and designs that foster connection rather than just housing maximum people. It also informed our understanding of mental health. Chronic crowding without escape or control can damage psychological well-being, even when basic needs are met. A key difference: the mice had no control over their environment. Humans thrive when we have agency, choices, and the ability to shape our surroundings. Perhaps the most important lesson is that collapse isn't predetermined by population density alone. It's about how we structure our societies and what values we prioritize. John Calhoun died in 1995, but his experiments remain controversial and influential. They force us to think about what makes a society truly healthy. Universe 25 stands as a warning. Not that we're doomed, but that abundance without purpose, crowding without community, and survival without meaning aren't enough. We're not mice in a cage. We have the intelligence to recognize these patterns, the creativity to design better systems, and the will to choose different outcomes. But the experiment still asks us difficult questions. Are we building societies that give people purpose? Do our cities foster real connection? Are we learning from the warning? Some see echoes of the beautiful ones in modern society. People withdrawing into digital worlds, avoiding real relationships, consuming but not creating or connecting. Others argue we're simply adapting, finding new ways to connect, new definitions of purpose, new social structures that work for our current reality. In a sense, we're all part of the experiment now. We're discovering in real time what happens when billions of humans live in complex, interconnected, crowded societies. So what do you think? Was Calhoun's mouse Utopia a prophecy of human collapse? Or just a fascinating study with limited application to our complex species? The answer might shape our future.